everyone is going to be looking at Caitlin Clark and seeing what she's doing, keeping an eye out at our fans. And obviously, in the Taylor Swift documentary, Caitlin, they made sure, and this is one of those things where it's like, you just kind of know if they're being smart about things. So in the Taylor Swift documentary, she's flying in Indianapolis, and obviously, am I right in saying this was the, was it one of the ones where it was like one day she was there in like the crowd, and the next day she was, there was such a big deal made about it, as she was in the VIP section with Travis Kelce.
Taylor Swift's latest documentary featured Caitlin Clark for a brief moment, sending the internet into complete chaos. Critics are melting down, supporters are screenshotting frantically, and the documentary producers deliberately chose to insert that footage. This cameo's underlying tactics expose something much deeper about Caitlin's celebrity status that remains largely undiscussed.
And I've seen this a good few times. I've seen this picture a good few times being like, oh, I think I saw Caitlin. They made sure they were smart about it. They made sure to put a split second of her in it so that her fans are...
All right. When Caitlin Clark unexpectedly appears in content like Taylor Swift documentaries or NFL broadcasts, does that increase your viewing interest, or have you grown weary of her constant presence? Share your genuine thoughts in the comments as this discussion gains momentum. Let's examine what transpired, because this represents brilliant marketing masked as an accidental documentary inclusion. Caitlin Clark surfaced for mere moments in Taylor Swift's recent documentary, not featuring dialogue or prominence, simply a brief glimpse from Taylor's Indianapolis performance, yet that fleeting appearance has social media buzzing intensely. The fascinating part, documentary creators understood their exact strategy. They deliberately decided to feature Caitlin in that sequence, achieving perfect result. Now Caitlin Clark enthusiasts are scouring the documentary hunting for that moment. People are sharing screenshots. Discussion threads analyze which performance and her companions, all generating views, interaction, and publicity. I'm not suggesting Taylor Swift exploits Caitlin Clark for recognition. That's ridiculous. Taylor Swift requires no assistance from Caitlin Clark for stardom. She's among the world's most massive celebrities. However, the documentary production team, they need clicks, they need viewership, they need conversation generation. Similar to Taylor Swift's fanbase mechanics, where Taylor's appearances anywhere bring her followers, we observe identical patterns with Caitlin Clark. We witnessed this NFL phenomenon when Taylor began dating Travis Kelce. Suddenly, NFL broadcast experienced enormous viewership increases because Swifties tuned in, catching Taylor's crowd appearances. The NFL embraced it. They featured her constantly understanding the situation. They accessed audiences who typically ignore football. Identical circumstances surround Caitlin Clark currently. She's achieved celebrity levels where mere presence generates content. Simple existence in spaces creates discussion. Love it or despise it, few athletes ever reach that fame category. Most people haven't grasped this reality yet. Caitlin Clark enjoys significantly more off-season time than active basketball periods. WNBA seasons span 4 months. Off-seasons last 8 months. 2/3 annually. Caitlin isn't competing professionally. She's not wearing Indiana Fever uniforms. She's experiencing life, attending functions, enjoying concerts, socializing with companions. Throughout that period, supporters desperately seek any available Caitlin Clark material. Here in Kansas City, Taylor Swift and Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever guard. That explains fans' excitement over 1-second documentary appearances. That's why people react intensely when she attends NFL games or shares friend photos. Enormous gaps between basketball seasons leave fans craving anything connected to her. Content producers, documentary creators, podcasters recognize this and capitalize accordingly. Honestly, I don't consider it malicious. It's intelligent business. When Sue Bird discusses Caitlin Clark on podcasts, those episodes vastly outperform others without her name. When Sophie Cunningham mentions Caitlin, engagement skyrockets. When PGA references her during tournament coverage, audiences notice. Everyone realizes Caitlin Clark's name holds influence, utilizing it advantageously. That fame level has positive and negative aspects. Positives are clear: endorsement contracts, enormous platforms, women's basketball influence capacity, Financial stability. Negatives we've witnessed include terrifying stalking incidents, constant examination, inability to go anywhere recognized or on film. That's celebrity's price, and it's often ugly. But returning to this Taylor Swift documentary moment perfectly demonstrates Caitlyn's current cultural position. She's transcended basketball player status. She's mainstream celebrity. Casual sports fans recognize her. People ignoring basketball entirely still know her. That's exceptionally rare for women athletes across sports. Here's where it becomes more intriguing. We recently saw this phenomenon unfold on social media. Liz Kitley, former Virginia Tech player drafted by Las Vegas Aces, posted recent photos with friends, including Monica Saskanae, one of Caitlyn's close companions. Then suddenly, random Caitlin Clark picture with Liz and Monica appears. Instantly, that post spreads everywhere. People share, comment, analyze it. Everyone discussed Liz Kitley like she'd saved the Aces last season. People believed she'd dominate significantly. I remember predictions she'd go second in the draft without injuries. I wondered how Liz Kitley suddenly became the world's best player. She averaged 1.3 points per game last season. She never played single Aces games, but her connection to Caitlyn's circle draws attention too. That's Caitlyn's fame ripple effect. Let's acknowledge what's actually occurring. There's intrigue and fascination with Caitlin Clark extending far beyond basketball. Much stems from WNBA players competing so minimally compared to year lengths. I don't count unrivaled as genuine basketball. That's gimmick sport vaguely resembling basketball, but different entirely. Project P hasn't launched yet. Beyond 4-month WNBA seasons, players have enormous downtime. For fans maintaining league engagement during 8 months, there must be more than basketball. There must be narratives. There must be personalities. There must be off-court material sustaining interest. Caitlin Clark provides all that naturally through existence. Consider this perspective. Men's sports offer year-round basketball between NBA, college, international competition, summer leagues, training camps, everything. Women's basketball has WNBA seasons. Then nothing for most players. Some compete overseas, but fans rarely watch international leagues. So what captures attention during 8 months? They follow favorite players' companions, which concerts they attend, their social media posts, dating lives, which documentaries feature them momentarily. Everything becomes content because no actual basketball exists. Honestly, women's college basketball might exceed men's college basketball currently regarding star power, not overall viewership necessarily, but recognizable names people actually care about. Besides Cooper Flagg and perhaps others, can you name men's college basketball casual fans would watch? I can't think of many, but women's side features Sarah Strong at UConn, arguably the nation's best player with 2 remaining years. Players like Malaysia Fulwiley at South Carolina averaged 20 points as freshmen with 3 college years left. These players aren't one and done like men's basketball. They remain. They build fan bases. They create multi-year storylines people follow. That's women's college basketball. Huge advantage rarely discussed. When star players emerge, you watch them develop over 3 or 4 years instead of single seasons. That creates deeper fan connections and sustained sport interest. But regarding Caitlyn's documentary situation, what's revealed is Caitlyn transcending basketball like few athletes ever achieve. She's entered rare territory where people watch her beyond court performance reasons. They watch because they're fascinated by her personally, as celebrity, as cultural figure. Documentary makers understood that. They knew. Including one Caitlin Clark, second would generate conversation, create discussion, drive her fan base views. That's strategic. That's intentional. And it succeeded perfectly. Identical podcast patterns occur when someone mentions Caitlin Clark in titles or discusses her briefly. Episodes outperform others without her name. I'm not calling that malicious or wrong, it's reality. Her name carries influence. Her presence generates interest. In content creation worlds, that's incredibly valuable. Look at PGA occurrences. They referenced Caitlin during tournament broadcasts, and suddenly basketball fans noticed golf. That's crossover appeal. That's mainstream celebrity status. That's sponsor and league dream reach. Now, definite downsides exist. Stalker situations are genuinely frightening and not joking matters. Caitlin requires serious constant security because unfortunately that fame level attracts dangerous individuals. Even 1% threat chances must be treated as 100% certainties with precautions. That's unfortunate fame reality, but from pure business and cultural impact perspectives, Caitlin's achievements are remarkable. She's made women's basketball appointment viewing for millions previously uncaring about the sport. She's brought mainstream attention and sponsorship dollars to WNBA. She's elevated teammates and competitors through competing against them. Now 1-second Taylor Swift documentary appearances become news stories. That's not normal athlete fame. That's superstar celebrity status. Whether you love Caitlin or tire of hearing about her, you can't deny her cultural impact accomplishments are unprecedented for women's basketball players. Taylor Swift documentary cameo exemplifies how Caitlin's fame operates differently now. She needn't do anything extraordinary. She must exist in spaces, and that becomes content. That becomes conversation. That becomes clicks, views, engagement. And here's the reality. This is probably just beginning. As Caitlin continues her career, wins more games, hopefully leads Fever to championships, this attention level will only intensify. Off-court content will only become more valuable. Random documentary appearances will only generate more buzz. For better or worse, Caitlin Clark now operates in spaces few athletes reach. She's mainstream celebrity who happens playing basketball rather than basketball player who's somewhat famous. Documentary makers, podcasters, leagues, brands are figuring out how capitalizing on that reality. So when you see Caitlin appearing momentarily in Taylor Swift documentaries and internet loses control, understand what you're witnessing. You're watching real-time proof of her brand's power and how desperately people search for any content related to her during long WNBA offseason. Documentary makers knew exactly their actions. Honestly, good for them. That's smart business. So that's the real story behind Caitlin Clark's Taylor Swift documentary cameo and what it reveals about her fame level. If this breakdown provided new perspective, hit that like button and subscribe because we're covering all biggest women's basketball stories. Drop your thoughts in comments. Remember, sometimes one screen time second says more than entire interviews.